Dear friends, today I would like to share with you a video clip of US Representative George Santos introducing the new Chinese federal leader, Guo Wengui Act 2023 in the House of Representatives. He said that the charges facing Guo Wengui, China's newest federal leader, are just part of the political persecution campaign that the Chinese Communist Party CCP has launched against him, that the weaponization of the US justice system is spiraling out of control, and that the House Judiciary Committee, the Department of Justice, and the federal government's task force on weaponization should investigate the CCP's infiltration of the US and do everything in their power to free Guo Wengui. I would like to make it clear that the New China Federation is an organization in which countless Chinese people from all over the world who have been persecuted by the Chinese government voluntarily join to fight against the dictatorial and authoritarian Communist Party of China CPC, and that the establishment of a new democratic and rule of law China is the goal of our New China Federation. However, the Chinese Communist Party has framed and detained Guo Wengui, the leader of the New China Federation, through its infiltration of the American judicial system. Now the American government has become more and more aware of the Chinese Communist Party's infiltration of the American government's American judicial system, and has begun to take measures to counter the Chinese Communist Party's infiltration, and many legislators have begun to call for the release of Guo Wengui, the leader of the New China Federation. And what is the British government doing? Not only is the British government doing nothing, but it is making it impossible for Chinese people, who are really being persecuted by the Chinese government, to get political asylum in Britain. Like me, I have a poisoning report of arsenic poisoning by Zhou Naixing, the governor of Shandong province in China, and it's been more than a year now, and not only have I not granted asylum, but I've been brutally persecuted in the UK. Why is that? Why? Because the infiltration of the Chinese Communist Party CCP into the United Kingdom is much more serious than that into the United States, whereas the British Prime Minister, Mr. Sunak, does not dare to take any measures to counter the infiltration of the CCP. It is because he himself is one of the British officials who have been bribed by the CCP. The corruption and despotism of a regime, it is because countless people compromise with injustice, it is because countless people forget their conscience and professional ethics in order to curry favor with the powerful, it is because countless people blindly follow the instructions of their superiors and forget their principles, and many other similar things, that make it easy for the people in power to cover up their crimes and offenses. If one day the British people's right to vote becomes null and void, the British people lose their freedom of speech, the British people no longer have the right to demonstrate, the British government's dissidents are persecuted, please do not blame others. Because this is the result of countless people's indifference to national affairs, not worrying about the future destiny of the country, the result of countless people's blind obedience to power and forgetting about professional ethics, the result of countless people's fear of the dark forces and lack of questioning and lack of thinking and lack of a sense of justice. And all this has actually started to happen in Britain. The British Prime Minister Sunak was not elected by the British people. The British people's marches are being suppressed by the police, the British Home Office, the same as the NHS, charities, police stations have all become puppets following the orders of the Prime Minister Sunak. That is why I, who is really being persecuted by the Chinese officials and being brutally persecuted in the United Kingdom, but I still believe that God will use his own way to let the British people realize that the country is facing a crisis. God will use his own way to let the British Empire out of the present dark moment. After all, 99% of the British people are so kind. They are just in a democratic country of the rule of law for too long to relax their vigilance by the insidious and cunning corruption of the officials blinded or used to believe and obey the instructions of superiors only. Hopefully, the following video will wake you up and make you think.
In this case, the charges against Miles Guo are simply a part of an organized campaign of political persecution brought against him by the CCP. As a matter of fact, in November of 2018, George Hickenbotham, a senior official at the DOJ, pleaded guilty to his active role in this illegal campaign. He admitted to accepting $41 million from the CCP and meeting with the Vice Minister of Public Security of China to advance the removal of Guo from the United States. It is with great dismay but complete confidence that I say that the weaponization of the United States prosecutorial system is spinning further out of control, and it is time we take a stand. This is why I'm unapologetically pushing back on the CCP and calling on the House Judiciary Committee, the DOJ, and the Select Subcommittee on Weaponization of the Federal Government to investigate the CCP infiltration on the U.S. government and do all they can to free Miles Guo. It shows when we have a national crime crisis failing by the wayside because political motivated campaigns designed for nothing other than retribution on political agitators keep getting in the way of our leading law enforcement officials who refuse to prioritize the American people. With each passing year, it is becoming increasingly obvious that the CCP is accomplishing its goal of infiltrating the United States, all the while perpetrators, the real threat to the American people, are let out on the streets, and harmless political targets remain behind bars with justice denied. Mr. Speaker, I speak for every American when I say we are done tucking our tails and being at the losing end of every trade-off with the CCP.